You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Süper var. Süper'e doğru at. Süper gitti. Süper topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Yuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
Welcome back, everybody. Beşiktaş International's The Black Eagles podcast is back. Episode 137. I am your host, Sinan, live from New York City. And back with me again is the prodigal co-host. The Achman himself, Evran. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Said I wouldn't be back, but here I am.
And yet here you are. Yeah, we got at least for a couple more months. It sounds like we're gonna get excited due to various coronavirus lockdowns and a sort of strain of bad luck on your end. But
yeah, Turkey's in like lockdown, so can't be really going over there.
yeah, so it's good to have you back for however long it is. But yeah, bad luck on your end, and condolences on the lockdown and all that. Did you're okay, right? Like you're on the back end of your quarantine, right? You
Yeah.
test positive.
And they didn't let me get tested, but I was in class with a person who ended up testing positive. So I was in a mandatory 14-day quarantine, which ends in like 14 hours or something.
Wow. Countdown. The final countdown. Sorry, man. It's late. It's late over here. It's not even that late. It's late for the young cramps over there. It is good to have you back. I was thinking I would just like roll solo for a little while, just to gain a little flexibility like that. But then, scout for a new co-host or something like that. So this certainly like at least it like kicks the can down the road a bit as far as my work. But it's good to have you back, Evran. Not just because I don't have to work anymore. But so yeah, obviously we are back for a reason. First of all, sorry for taking like the full week off. That was we sort of said we were going to, but then I thought I might come back and do like a little news report. Some stuff came down. Speaking of coronavirus, and maybe we'll do that first as well. But in the end, I figured, when everyone said he was coming back, and with the match upcoming and everything, I thought I'd take the week off. I think we all needed a week off of Beşiktaş mentally, and we came back refreshed. The club did, but sort of. First, let's talk about that news, everyone. What was the deal with COVID-19 in the Beşiktaş squad?
So 3 players tested positive during the international break, like the first day they were going to train. And then Vida also tested positive while he was on international break. So we had 4 players test positive. Vida actually tested positive at halftime while he was playing Turkey, which is, we'll just move on from the disaster that was. But it looks like it was Rosier, Insakala, and Wellington were the 3 players for us who tested positive. They were all out for the game, along with Vito, which is basically the entire back line.
It's interesting Dorkan wasn't quarantined then, isn't it? Since they were all...
I guess he didn't test positive. Yeah. So
I guess they
he
must have
hugged
tested him.
the guy and did test positive. I had to
Lucky.
quarantine while wearing a mask.
Yeah, right. He hugged the guy like sweaty too. Like a sweaty hug.
So the logic behind all these protocols are sometimes
Something.
interesting.
And I guess it's the indoor ventilation thing and all that. But nonetheless, I mean, it really raises the question. Whatever. Yeah, this is all. I guess. Sometimes I wonder how
you can hug a guy and.
Yeah, how did he not get it? I guess he's lucky he didn't get it, if in fact he did. Anyhow, So, who was out besides Vida? So, we had, of course, Nsakala as well. Who else?
Wellington, Rosier, and then Everson was suspended. So that's the entire back five that usually starts was out.
Wow. And so, yeah, I guess that's actually a perfect segue into the starting lineup for the match. So we had, as you say, an entirely new, unique back line. So who was back there?
Yeah, so Utkul was in goal with a pain injection. He almost didn't play. And then it was Dorukhan, Necip, Montero, and Ridvan as a back four.
Any fan of the podcast knows that was scary. I mean, for one reason in particular, being Necip being there in the back. But at the same time, he was sort of a steadying presence considering, I mean, as much as we've advocated for Dorukhan as a right back before, we haven't seen it a lot, so he doesn't bring a lot of experience there. Ridvan obviously doesn't bring a lot of experience as basically a youth product, and Montero as well, a young guy, fresh off of a fairly stank performance too. So lots of cause for concern there. How about in the midfield?
Yeah, this was pretty much the expected. Souza, Mensah, Tiba in the middle, and Ghazal, Boubacar, Laren, which has kind of been pretty steady what we've been rocking with, I guess, except Dorukhan dropped back to right back instead of being in midfield. It's worth noting Ozan was also out with a minor injury, so he could not have played. So basically,
I think they probably assumed
Mensah.
he had COVID as well, and maybe that was why I inflated the numbers mentally. But so yeah, and of course Vincent Aboubakar up front, our man.
He scored 3
podcast
goals
favorite
over international break.
Yeah, he came in hot. Yeah, and we were hoping he'd continue that form, and he did. We'll say right off the bat, he weighs on the defense. He did that throughout the match, regardless. That's not a spoiler in and of itself. But so yeah, let's talk about the match a little bit. So right off the bat, it's active, just as you'd think it might be, with Başakşehir, who started off really poorly this season. You have to admit, but
they were below
together.
us for a while.
Yeah, even below us. But they pulled it together and are hot off of a huge victory in Europe. Do you want to say a word about that, Evran, before we get started?
Yeah, Dembaba led them to a victory over Manchester United, so it's their first ever Champions League win, or at least group stage win. So
Dembaba still haunting famed Premier League sides, isn't he? Good for him. But so yeah, there we go. Big game, and of course although we're weakened by injuries, we're coming off a bad performance as well. But I think we're probably hungry to right the ship, and after the break, ready to get out there, get off to a flying start, you'd think. And so, lots of back and forth stuff. I think Başakşehir had a pretty decent effort, miss wide. Can you think of any early action there that you want to mention, Evran?
Yeah, there was that one, they tried to cross it from, the end line, right inside the box, and it, deflected off Montero, hit Utku in the back, and then hit the side netting, outside the goal. That was probably, their best chance of the first half. That was, heart attack inducing. Almost own goal. Yeah. But other than that, they weren't, super dangerous in the first half, I would say.
No, and I want to actually take this moment to give a shout out to that defense that we said was the really thing to be worried about, obviously, going into this match. But they maintained a fairly steady ship through that first half. Again, despite Montero coming off, it was a really terrible match, the previous one. Necip being the kind of guy who you typically just never really want to see anywhere near the back line. Dorukhan, looked fairly solid on that right back spot as we have long advocated for him to be. And Ridvan Yilmaz, a steady outing. The first half, everything looked great, huh?
Yeah, I think their subs at halftime were, it was a big quality injection, which is why I think the second half defensively we were struggling more. But there was still action to come in the first half. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we get there, and it really took most of the half to find it, but sure enough, in the 44th minute, the first Canadian Mountie strike. What happened here?
Yeah, so our best chance of the game came like 10 seconds before the goal. Abubakar like pounces onto a loose ball.
Oh, yeah.
Nice pace. It was a tight angle, and he almost squeezed it between Babajan's leg, but literally flicked off his ankle out for a corner. And before they were done showing the replays, Gezal's corner was swung in, and Joseph got like the tiniest touch on it, so Joseph gets the assist. But it fell to Atiba's foot right inside the 6-yard box. Open net.
Nice little tap in. Yeah, and I think had we not scored right then and there, that Abubakar miss would have really pained us for a while, because it was so close, and it really it felt like it should have gone in. Keeper got so lucky there, and then sure enough, boom, we score. And Gezal, who I was somewhat critical of, as much as a steady ship as the defense managed to keep in the back, I was not particularly pleased with our ability to really connect things up front and pose a threat to this keeper, Volkan Babajan, who I think we needed to be challenging. He hasn't gotten a ton of time in the last year, 2 years or so.
2 years, yeah.
So
last year he played 3 league games in the last 3 seasons, including this one. So.
Exactly. So I thought that we really needed to go at him, and I was disappointed that those guys weren't really putting it together. But then, boom, here we go. And then, not much later, in fact, it would be the first minute of extra time before halftime, right after getting a yellow card somehow. I don't remember that happening. Kyle Larin. Do you remember the Kyle Larin yellow?
I don't remember the yellow card.
It was weird. But yeah, what happened right afterwards?
Yeah, they kind of overcommitted, and as everyone was at the half line or higher for them, they were pushing to get one back, and then the ball fell to Atiba at the top of his own box. I think he gave it to Mensa and made an 80-yard run.
Yeah, and Mensa did some nice footwork and a nice little ball to him as well.
Nice ball to Atiba, and Atiba didn't really have a shot on, so he slotted it back for Larin, who managed to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Past the defender on the line.
The family man giveth.
Which is worth noting. Larin had 16 touches in the whole game and 1 shot and only 2 touches in the box. That's all he needed. So.
That's right, the magic man right there. What can you say? They were calling him the poor man's Lukaku somewhere. I think Lukaku is the poor man's family man. I'm kidding.
He scored 2 goals this week.
Child's play. Come on. Can he do it in 6 consecutive matches though, man? Come on.
It's a good question.
You gotta give credit to the family man at this point. It's obvious, it's obvious that he's not the most talented football player of all time, or even a good one. But he's certainly getting things done for us. You got to give him credit. No, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Teams, though.
Yeah. So run us through these halftime subs that you just sort of alluded to. So that was it for the half, by the way. 2-0 going in after a well-fought half, but I think we kind of earned it by the end there.
Yeah. Second half, things would change. The 2 big money transfers, well, I guess they weren't big money because probably the high salary transfers was Nasser Chadla and Giuliano both came on, and I think that was a big moment for them in the game because they subbed out Epuriano and Boli Bolingoli Bombo. Excuse me on that one. A left back and a center back for, a cam and a winger. Or attacking mid as cam. So that was, showed their intentions. And to probably sub on, I would say they're second and third most talented attackers after Visca. Yeah.
I'm not following Giuliano, but I would imagine he's, it would take a little while for him to get back into shape or whatever. But I've noticed that Shadley has been eased into this steadily and not really starting a lot. What's the story there? Oh, it's an
Charlotte
injury?
was hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, Giuliano's been eased in. Charlotte was just hurt. So
Interesting.
in his
Yeah,
first
certainly,
game, his
certainly.
last game week, he played 11 minutes for the first time and had 2 assists. They were down 1-0 and they subbed him on. He came on for the first time in the 80th minute, had 2 assists, and they won the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's
yeah.
been impactful.
he carried
So,
that into his next game. So.
But certainly, Epurianu for Shadley signaled intent. That was a big. Yeah, that was decisive. But yeah, Topal got himself a yellow card. Mensah got a yellow card in the 58th minute. I don't remember that either. 65th minute, another sub. That was interesting. Kyle Larin came out for Nkudu, Georges Kevin, my man, who looked. I'm not gonna butter this. Excuse me. It did not look particularly pretty. He didn't look like he should have even been out there yet, to be honest. And I hope it was more psychological. He was trying to avoid injury, but a lot of guys get injured trying to avoid injury. As far as I know.
Undeniably different. If like the way he was running, like his stride, everything was clearly either he was holding back, so he didn't maybe they told him if you run at 80% speed, you're still fast enough and you won't get hurt, or he's just not confident, or he's not ready physically. But yeah, he was clearly running like differently and slower. So
yeah, and yet wouldn't prevent something from happening. So Dorkan we got a yellow card in the 67th minute.
he's suspended for next game. But
And that one I remember, it was a stupid foul that I didn't understand, and it's unfortunate that he'll miss the match against Fenner, because obviously with all the rumors of him theoretically wanting to go there and all that, this won't quiet any of that by
yeah, he
any
had to
stretch.
post something like the shushing emoji. As people were saying he got the yellow on purpose, but
Yeah, I mean, that's conspiracy theory, obviously, but it was a stupid foul nonetheless, and we didn't need to be missing him, especially. But luckily, there's good news, and we might as well just drop it now that Rosier is back for the upcoming match. So we don't even need you, kid. But so 70th minute, a more important card given. Run us through this play. How did Mehmet Topal get booted from this match?
so he had a counterattack. Obviously, when you take out a center back and a left back for 2 attacking players, you're
You're gonna be left lurching in the back, yeah.
stable defensively. They had, 2 attacking, center mids. I would say not attacking center mids, but it was Berkay and Irfan Can are defensive mids, which is not defensive. That's an attacking lineup right there. So Nkudu was on the break, try to hit some, double step overs. Got a little bit of lucky. Hit off the defender, hit back off him. Shot across goal. Babajan punches it to Abubakar. Abubakar is about to, laser one in on goal. And then Mehmet Topal's big gangly hand smacks the ball away. I wouldn't say on purpose, but he literally punched the ball next to his
didn't look good. Did not look
like
good.
on the replay, it was like he pelted the ball 20 feet away.
Yeah.
And it was
Get
about
outta
to
here.
go, man. So he didn't really have much to argue about. Although I did feel sort of bad from if you're gonna get sent off, at least you would rather do it on purpose. But it is what it is.
It's like you've seen him doing that. You could imagine that happening for the national side when you're rooting for his team and being
Well, he's
pissed
done
about
this-
it. But
He's done this for Başakşehir multiple times, so I'm not surprised.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna. That's not even that far out of the imagination. Yeah. But so we're up a man. That's gonna help. You think we're winning 2-0. We're up a man. Gökhan Töre comes in for Rashid Ghezal, so we're getting some energy on the wings. You think, wow, that's a good move. We need that pace. Good to see him back. A minute later, Adem Ljajic comes into the match for Bernard Mensah, and you're thinking, okay, now we're talking. So we're seeing Nkudu out there. We're seeing Ljajic out there.
I think they came on right
Töre
before
out
the
there.
red card.
Oh,
I
really?
believe. Yeah, that's what
funny.
Fight Mob has.
Yeah.
I don't think they came on right before the penalty was taken, but I could be wrong.
We got competitive information here. But nonetheless, shortly thereafter, penalties taken. Vincent Abubakar steps up to it. How did it go?
Yeah, he did the thing where he stares down the keeper, and just calmly slotted the ball to the right side as Volkan dived early. Just, Demba Ba style. Another confident penalty, was his second goal of the season. Another penalty. Wish he would score a non-penalty, but you got to score those. If he missed that, I think we would have. The game would have been much worse. So because we did not mention it, but Başakşehir was really knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Then Baba missed the sitter. Utku was having the time of his life out there, and then if he missed a penalty there, that would have been bad news, as we'll see.
Yeah, and it was like ice in your veins. Stared it down, looked the other way, put it away. Nice finish. A bit later, Başakşehir would make their intent clear. They took out İrfan Kahveci for Mahmut Tekdemir, Demba Ba for Gulbrandsen. They needed some energy in the midfield and going forward. Gulbrandsen, that guy, he would do stuff.
This 2-minute period was where the game definitely changed. Erdoğan came in 1 minute later.
Erdoğan Kaya came in for Ridvan Yilmaz, which is a weird sub.
He had a slight injury. That was what.
That's apparently what happened. That's
but
unfortunate.
he is fine. So.
Rafael got a yellow card. I was not very impressed with him, so maybe it's good we got the man Rosier instead. But yeah, he would come out for Wesley Ponk, who I was actually a little bit impressed by. Impressed with. But so, yeah, and then shortly thereafter, 81st minute, bam, a laser of a shot. What the heck happened?
Yeah, it was just a long ball, and then Necip kind of heads the ball down into Erdoğan, hits off Erdoğan awkwardly, then bounced to Gulbrandsen, and then Erdoğan doesn't really close him down, and then he just, hits his half volley, loop into the top corner. So 3-1.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but like every sort of clotting touch and then resulting in that one really gave me an unsettling feeling about Erdoğan Kaya being out there.
Yeah, last time he played was post-COVID, which was June, and he played against Dennis. I was like, wow, this guy's really not very good. And he did not make me feel any better with this cameo. So
it's a shame. You always want to see youth products getting in there. Obviously, he's like our fourth central back, so you could even theoretically need him in some scenario. So it's obviously not good that we feel this way. But yeah, I don't need to see him playing anytime soon. Not with anything on the line. Maybe in the National Cup or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so then they'd keep knocking on the door. Utku would make two sort of just absolutely fantastic saves. And then
I think Chadla and Visca were turning it up.
For sure.
Giuliano hit the crossbar in between. Or is that before? I don't even remember, but there's just so many chances that they piled on in that second half.
And we've settled into this match and gotten a little lazy. We're up 3-1 at this point. I think we're up a man as well. Feeling a little too confident. Start setting back and say, okay, you want to attack, whatever, go for it a little bit, and in the end, we were almost punished a number of times. The ball hits the post at one point. Utku makes a couple giant saves. That post may have been earlier in the match, actually.
Yeah, I think that was at 2-0 where they had Baz sitter and the post was at 2-0.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Utku made like 3 or 4 saves after 3-0, 3-1, the next goal, but...
Yeah.
Spoiler.
And it was tough. You felt like it was coming. And sure enough, and luckily it took this long, but in the 4th minute of extra time, again, Utku makes a fantastic save, but this time a rebound. Gulbrandsen gets on the other end of it. Sorry, I kind of took your thunder there, but so you can finish up the description.
Yeah, Visca cut it back to Gulbrandsen, and it was like a weird situation where Erdoğan didn't decide to mark no one. I guess he thought Joseph was gonna drop in for him, but he chose not to mark him, and yeah, that was 3-2. So
Erdoğan Kaya in let's see, how long did he?
13
Late.
minutes.
13 minutes, yeah. In 13 minutes, kind of key
Well, I guess
contributions
plus
and 2
stoppage
goals
time, 18
allowed.
minutes.
Yeah, true. With
He did
stoppage
complete
time.
1 out of 1 passes though, so shout out to my guy.
There you go. Shade. But so yeah, that's how it would end, with a little mini heart attack. Skirchow would get himself a yellow card, as he does. And yeah, we squeaked this one out 3-2 in the end, and a match that we're winning 3-0 in the 80th minute. You know, with, you think, 10 minutes left. You come away with it with half the fan base complaining about the coach and calling for him to be fired, even though you beat last season's champion, who are fresh off a Man U victory.
And
so
this was a 6-pointer to, there were 3 points ahead of us. So if we lost this, they have daylight, but now we're on their tail, equal on points with a game in hand. So
we have
we're
a game
back
in hand. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now things are actually looking up. Let's not do the standings yet, although we've already sort of begun, and I'm so tempted because they're actually kind of one of the bright spots here. But all right, no, let's talk stats, Evran. How about a little stat flash? What do we got over there?
Yeah, I got some. I think I gave you one of them. The cool stats was Laren's 16 touches. One of them, 1 shot, 2 in the box, and that was his, interesting stat of the game. But I do have the XG, courtesy of Rosie Sports or Rosie Report. He had us at 3.5 and Başakşehir at 2.8. I think, the penalty helped that bring us above them. Shots were about equal, but I think throughout the run of play, they had like a lot of good chances, and we just had like a few really good chances going forward.
And what's interesting, so you mentioned that they dominated possession, but we actually looked kind of better on the counter often, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we got that first goal off the corner, and then the second goal was off a counter. The second and third goal were off counterattacks. So I think that first goal they like got away with it. Abubakar didn't score. He probably should have. Well, not should have, but Volkan Babacan made it, missed a save by accident. For being honest. And then they concede that goal, and then after that they pushed too many men forward, and we punished them for it.
Yeah.
But I think from halftime to like our third goal, that they had a load of chances, which I think was capped off by that Demba Ba sitter could manage to just jump in front of.
Yeah, I mean, Demba Ba just smashed it into his groin there, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's worth knowing the pass map, which shows the average touch. Abubakar is like super deep. He's basically in line with Dorukhan, which is our right back, and Atiba, who's like the 8. So I think although he played well, again, you would rather a striker is not that deep that often. And then Kyle Laren's average touch was on the half line. So he was really I think it wasn't like a vintage performance, but we got the job done, and it wasn't like we played like garbage either. So.
Yeah, it's one of those, we've done this already, we'll do it again. It was one of those matches where if all things come together and we have a nice little run for a title here, or at least a good season to some extent. I don't know how that, I think it's like title or bust in that sense, but you look at these matches as sort of big ones, where you held them out, you got the 3 points, you got it done, even though maybe you had to kind of bend and not break and all that stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, a huge 3 points, as you said, a 6-pointer. We're level on points now with Başakşehir, Fatih Karagümrük, the Kings of Istanbul, with a game in hand, so we can actually pass them even with a draw, which you hope we do better. But
the team we lost to last week, Gaziantep, is also ahead of us. They didn't win. They only won 1 game all season before they played us, but now they won 2 in a row. And
they got hot against this. Yeah. Well, so yeah, let's talk standings then too. Since we've already dove in So yeah, we sit in 7th place now.
Very
There's
tight tape.
Yeah, I mean it's an amazing table actually. Short, like, so Ankaragücü is the bottom, and they're kind of clearly bottom feeders. But then you have Denizli Gençler with 5 points to Ankaragücü's 2. Kayseri has 7, and then Erzurumspor 8, Antalyaspor, Trabzon, and Sivas have 9. Yeni Malatya, Göztepe have 11. Hatayspor, Kasimpasa, Rize, and Konyaspor have 12. And then you reach the group of 13. Sorry, I'll hand it over to you now, Evran.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting below us, the only team that could pass us is Hatay because they have a game in hand and they're 1 point behind us. So they're, in the running also if they win their game in hand. But and then above us, as I mentioned, is Gaziantep, who won. But Karagümrük tied, so they dropped points. We made up the ground on them, and then Gala also tied, like a real funny game. I think they had like 4 XG to 1, not even 1 to like 0.5. They managed to tie 1-1 while being a man up, so to a relegation side Kayseri. So we'll take that. Fener and Alanya.
So Galatasaray had XG of 4?
Yeah, or 3.8 or something like that. Like something ridiculous like that. They had 27 shots.
And only scored on a penalty, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was. And Kayseri had 3 shots. So nice.
We've
FIFA
been there.
game.
We've had that before. We know what that feels like.
So
no mercy.
We'll take it. So we're within striking distance of 3rd place right now, going to next week, which we play the 2 title fighters right now, which is Alanya and Fener, who are both on 20 points. So Fener has an extra game than us. Alanya has the same games as us. So big game coming up.
Yeah, stay tuned, obviously. Sunday, November 29th, 11 a.m. here on the eastern coast of the United States of America. So check your local listings. I think that means like 6 p.m. in Turkey. But again, don't trust me. But yeah, that's obviously a huge match, derby and all that. But we're now, I think, 7 points back on them. So
on Fener, yeah, with a game in hand. So if we win, we would be 4 points back with still a game in hand. So
maybe just a point back, right? We could theoretically be just a point back.
Yeah, if we'd win.
So that's an important point. If that game in hand is 3 points, we would have 16 points now and be in 4th place. And now that's important because people have been panicking, calling for everyone to be fired left and right, and calling all of the new guys busts and all of that, without really letting anything sink in. And we've gotten through this period now fully. Obviously, now this is the squad we're rolling with for the most part. But without a striker and a right back and a central defender initially, bouncing the various guys around in and out, we've managed to get through that rough stretch, and again, like theoretically, could be 4th place. So, but even if we were to draw, let's say, and have 14, we'd be in 4th. We'd still be in 4th place, or maybe 5th, depending on Gaziantep. Is that head-to-head?
Yeah, it's head-to-head, so
there you go. Even with a draw, 5th place, though. So, it's not Panic City yet. I don't think we need to be freaking out that much. Obviously, like, Evran and I have been pretty serious critics of Sergen's player evaluation skills, right? Like who he's putting out there and everything. But on the other hand, he's obviously compensating that with some pretty decent coaching and man motivation, or something on the back end, because it's not a complete horror show, right? So
yeah, we've seen worse. So.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any? You want to piggyback on that sort of conclusion to this match here?
I would say I'm gonna ignore the back line just because, it's all subs basically. I would say, Woodcook played out of his ability that I think we both said he was capable of. Ridvan did pretty good. Dorukhan did okay, and the center backs were okay, the starting ones. But from the normal starters, I think Atiba is man of the match. I don't think it's worth the point of arguing it.
Yeah.
On the wings is where I think it gets a little dicey. I don't think Gezal and Laren is our best solution.
Yeah, I mean, you hope Nkudu is going to come back. It's good to see him play, but on the other hand, not like that.
Nkudu just came back, and then hopefully for the Fener game, Hasic will be back in the squad. So, I think our wings are getting repopulated again, so we're not stuck with only those guys as our only option. But I just don't feel like, it's conducive to a Beşiktaş style play. I don't think Gezal's consistent enough. Obviously, he can whip in a cross here and there, but I don't think he can really beat a man. And then Laren scores. So as long as he keeps scoring, I won't complain. But it's going to stop eventually. And hopefully it's not next week, but...
Yeah, it has to stop, I think, right?
Especially it's not like he's getting loads of chances. He's literally just finishing off of scraps. So hopefully, someone sees that and wants to buy him. I would not be opposed to that in a couple months.
No, and either way, I think he's overperformed what our expectations were. He's been very helpful. All credit to him. And you know what? If he can string these kinds of... I mean, his finishing has actually looked much improved on it, if we're going to admit. He's starting to do it with his feet, too. So, good for him. You hope for it to continue to some extent. Obviously, just scoring every match is not... I mean, you don't even expect that of, Messi. So, whatever. He has a much lower ceiling or floor, rather than that.
When he's not scoring, what does he really offer?
Not much,
This is the big question. It's not terrible, but I just think we get better.
No, I think he provides us with a great option off the bench for a striker. I don't know about his wing stuff.
Bench, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal is.
He needs to settle into the game, which is kind of what bothers me the most.
Well, I mean, and if anything, if you can say anything, the goals he's putting together for us, these are sort of flashes that could happen at any moment. So maybe his mentality's changed and he can contribute this type of stuff off the bench. It remains to be seen. Certainly, you want to see two actual wingers out there, and you want to see Abubakar playing above him. Abubakar did really well to weigh on the defense. I would agree Atiba is the man of the match on the field of play, although I think I might have to go with Utku this time. It feels so weird to say it, but he really played huge.
The thing with Utku is he can't kick normally, and it was basically like having Tolga in there with his injury. He wasn't even taking goal kicks. I think he had 30% pass accuracy, 35% pass accuracy.
And it's really scary whenever cross comes in, because he doesn't come out. I mean, if you could take Ersin's ability in the air and with his feet and give it to Utku's ability sort of on the ground, with his reflexes, you'd have a fantastic keeper. And I haven't given up on Ersin. Ersin's 19, so he can still develop that ground game, But
yeah, I mean, Utkuzar still he was 23, so it's not like he's that young. But I mean, it's not like he's ancient either. Keepers play for a while, but I think he's more of a finished product. Utku at 19 would have been, not something.
We saw a little bit. I think he was not.
He came in at 20. I think it was when he 19 turning 20, not 18, 19. What we've seen Ersin playing. So.
And I mean, credit to him. I think the last time we saw Utku, he wasn't that bad. And we thought, okay, whatever, but I don't want to see any more. And so this time, he put out a real good, solid match.
Yeah, last season he sucked, but this season, in his minutes, he's been fine. So, this game he was good, but.
Now let's talk Fener. Ersin's back, right?
He's 2-match suspension.
Oh, 2 matches. I thought that was the one. No, it was Joseph's that got shortened.
Yeah.
And then we didn't start. Yeah. So, it's good that he had that match before the Fener match. That was why I asked.
Yeah. So he'll be in net, assuming he doesn't fully tear his hamstring, whatever's going on. But you know.
Yeah.
In Sakala, I think is going to be back, but Rozier is definitely back. Oğuzhan is back. Well, Oğuzhan and Hasic are like supposed to be back in training. But I think there's a good chance for Rozier to start, and then a slight chance for Sakala to start.
And it was good to see Ljajic coming off the bench finally and play a little.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's weird for us to have a talent like that not playing. But
yeah, apparently Sergen said he wasn't angry to not be playing, so apparently it doesn't matter or something weird like that. So.
That sounds weird. That sounds super fishy. But yeah, I mean that's it. I think that's about all of our coverage here. Yeah, word. Evran, take us out. You got anything final to say to these folks?
Big games coming up. We play, Fener, Kasımpaşa online the next 3 weeks, so not gonna say it's the whole season's on the line, but I think we'll have a strong idea of what we're in for, whether that's a title fight, a hunt for 4th place, or something worse. So hopefully, we stick it to all the haters.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. And yeah, I think it's one of those things where like you get a point against Fener, and then those other 2 matches kind of become huge. You get 3 points against Fener, and you can kind of like, okay, let's try to round this thing out. But it becomes a little less like do or die, right? But certainly this Fener match is really a pivotal one, and especially as far as catching up to them and stifling those title hopes of theirs. They've done this buy all in for one glory run. And if they fail, it will be catastrophic for their finances, and obviously that's what we hope for. So we hope that they don't even make Europe next year. We want them to suffer. I mean, joking, sort of. But I would like to beat them, obviously, and I want us to win the title. I don't care what they do, honestly.
They spent the most by a landslide out of any team this year on transfers.
Yeah, I don't like that approach because it's not.
Yeah, because they got them like almost all in on free transfers, and so apparently none of them have sign-on bonuses. That's the.
That's their trick. Yeah.
That is their trick. But yeah, they've spent a boatload to assemble this squad under Emre.
Sort of geriatrico squad, though. I'm not a big fan. I really don't like the approach. It's something that Galatasaray have been trying to do for years and has blown up in their face a number of times. And it's not how you build something sustainably. I think you gotta invest almost equally in young players and in the future as you do in short-term gaps and fixes. And I think you have to deal with the little mistakes here and there because of younger players for the bigger picture and hope that you have enough talent beyond that to overcome it. And so far, I like what we're doing with Beşiktaş this year in that regard, to be honest. There were rumors of a Rozier buyout that we're already negotiating a buyout for him. That would be fantastic.
I think it's pretty much guaranteed we want him. But I don't think the finances will add up. I think I'm hearing 5-6 million.
The rumor I heard was 5 mil, yeah. And so obviously,
right back, yeah.
It just depends. It puts all the more onus on the results they put out there this season. If they get Europe, and not just Europe, but the Champions League, then maybe you can swing it, right? And if we get championship money, because you get a big bonus for that too.
Yeah,
then you can probably swing
first place, and you have the deal agreed early enough. But if he does so well
that we win the title and all that, well then you have that question. Yeah, no. So that's why I don't mind the 5 million thing if that's what they want. I feel like he's definitely proven to probably be more than we can afford. So if it's 5 mil, I think we actually maybe could afford it in that one scenario. But it puts a lot of pressure on them to get that. But of course, that's the goal. We want the title. So
yeah, he's a good player,
but he's good.
I just don't think we're spending 5 million on a right back. We can barely spend $1 million on a right back. So we'll see.
Yeah, true. And we're gonna have to kick the can down further. Maybe we loan him again. Something like that. Anyway, follow us on Twitter The mothership at Beşiktaş_INT. Obviously, transfer season's getting kicked off again soon. I don't know how that scheduling is. It would already be real fast approaching normally, but now things are a little weird.
I think it's January 5th or January 15th or something. When it gets closer, I'll remember it. But
yeah, already rumors of strikers, which is, I don't know, whatever.
yeah, Jake Toastman is the
look of the man. Yeah. But yeah, also follow us, the podcast itself at at Eagles_podcast. Follow myself at Sir_Rights_a lot. Follow us on Instagram, Black Eagles Podcast, one word. You out there, Evran?
No.
Yeah, still on that height. Well, of course, there's one thing that I do have to say before we go. Donate to the raffle, and let's go Beşiktaş! Peace out, folks. Stay on it. Keep practicing.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.